Okay, the link between overweight women and autism in their children, I think, is pretty strong. And I mean, I feel the effects of autism. I felt it all throughout my childhood, and I don't know if I've really kicked it so much, but I think it's manageable to a point. But I think the link is there. I mean, a lot of my mannerisms seem to be very autistically related. So I've dealt with it all my life and didn't really give it much thought early on. But I mean, now that it's being more identified, well, it's been identified for the past, 10, 15 years at least. Um, but the link, putting the overweight, obese moms in with in strongly with autistic child is kind of a recent thing where professionals are not, they can't deny it that there is the link. Okay, whereas before it was questionable. Oh, it could come from anywhere. And yes, I mean, there are other factors. Maybe there's multiple chemical sensitivities too or something, but I mean, we can't deny the problems that obesity just compounds. And yeah, I was listening to the YouTube episode show, and they said don't put blame on the mothers. And it's hard to just sit there and make fun of the moms for being overweight and causing problems with their kids. You can't do it so much because a lot of it falls back on the choices that are presented for them to eat at the grocery stores. It's difficult. I mean, you got all these sales, and the marketers will put cartoon characters and their strongest pitches for the worst kinds of foods on the labels, and it's really it's such a mess right now, the way the economic system for food sales is set up. There's just nothing that is protecting us from the food manufacturers. I mean, sure, yeah, there's no, they're taking poisons out of the food. They're listening to that. I mean, just recently they took out the mat, the rubber mat that yoga people use. They took that out of the bread for Subway or something like that because the food babe sounded the alarm. But those are little chemicals, and that's great and all, but that's that seems to be getting like attacking symptoms. The real underlying problem is eating the over-processed sugar, the high fructose corn syrup. Well, once again, the manufacturers are listening and they're pulling out the high fructose corn syrup, but they're replacing it with another sugar extract. I mean, an extracted sugar is an extracted sugar, whether it comes from corn or beets or wherever else they can extract it from. Concentrated sugar, they'll do that with oranges. I mean, you don't need high fructose corn syrup to have a concentrated sugar. That's going to contribute to obesity. It's going to contribute to overeating and the indulgence, the desire to indulge in consuming even more than necessary, and then that contributes to the obesity. See, I grew up a little bit before the Asperger's problem, even before there was warnings about obesity issues. Um, Being born before 1980, a little bit before that was kind of was a safe zone, but there was that point. I think there was a point right in 1980 or so when Coca-Cola made their switch. Everybody else made their switch, and it was just it was a windfall since then, and all these very obese, very sugar-related problems have been coming out. They're all lumped together to me: obesity, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, autism. I mean, all these terrible problems have resulted. So it's hard to blame the individual when it's the manufacturers of the food.